The gas station was quiet, just another late-night pit stop for a lone biker. But things took a sudden turn when a group of rowdy, drunk bikers rolled in, loud engines, and even louder attitudes disrupting the peace. They zeroed in on a man in plain clothes, standing by his bike, minding his own business. Maybe it was the way he carried himself, calm and unshaken, that drew their attention. Or maybe they just wanted trouble. What they didn't know was that this wasn't any ordinary biker. Beneath the leather jacket and unassuming demeanor was an undercover cop, trained to handle situations far more dangerous than a few unruly bikers. As tensions rose, their taunts turned to something more. Little did they know, they were seconds away from the surprise of their lives. The leader of the group, a burly man with a worn leather vest and a cocky grin, swaggered up to the undercover cop. His friends hung back, laughing and shouting crude remarks, egging him on. The man stood his ground, calm but alert, his hands resting casually at his sides. He glanced at them briefly, then returned his focus to the gas pump, as if they weren't even worth his time. The bikers didn't take the silence well. One of them kicked over a trash can, spilling its contents across the pavement. Another stepped closer, pointing a finger in the man's face, his voice slurring with alcohol. "Hey, tough guy, you think you're better than us." The cop said nothing, but his steady gaze betrayed a quiet confidence. This wasn't his first rodeo, and they had no idea who they were messing with. The leader stepped even closer, his voice dripping with mockery. "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue." He shoved the man's shoulder, testing his patience. The undercover cop barely moved, his calm demeanor unchanged, though his sharp eyes didn't miss a single detail. The bulge of a knife in one biker's boot, the shaky grip of another clutching a bottle. Inside the gas station, the cashier nervously glanced outside, her hand hovering near the phone. A couple filling their car exchanged worried looks, unsure if they should intervene or stay out of it. Meanwhile, the bikers grew bolder, circling around like wolves sensing weakness. But this wasn't weakness, it was strategy. The cop was reading them, waiting for the moment when things crossed the line. He needed to handle this carefully, but the bikers were dangerously close to pushing too far. The leader leaned in closer, his voice low but threatening. "You're in the wrong place, pal. Maybe it's time you learn some manners." The others laughed, their voices echoing in the still night. One biker smashed the neck of a bottle on the curb, the jagged glass glinting under the fluorescent lights. Another revved his engine, the roar cutting through the tension like a warning shot. The undercover cop finally spoke, his tone calm but firm. "You sure you want to do this?" His words weren't loud, but they carried enough weight to make the leader pause, even if only for a second. That moment of hesitation didn't last long. One of the bikers grabbed the cop's shoulder, clearly eager to escalate the situation. The cop's hand twitched, the instinct to act almost impossible to suppress. Around them, the air seemed to thicken as the onlookers froze, waiting to see how it would all unfold. As the biker tightened his grip on the undercover cop's shoulder, a sharp, commanding voice cut through the chaos. "Step away now." Out of nowhere, another figure emerged from the shadows near the edge of the gas station lot. Dressed casually but exuding authority, it was clear this wasn't just another bystander. The bikers froze for a split second, their eyes darting between the new arrival and the man they had surrounded. The leader sneered, trying to mask his unease. "Who the hell are you?" He barked, his bravado faltering. The newcomer didn't flinch. "Let him go, or you're all going to regret this." The bikers laughed, but it was a nervous, scattered sound now. The undercover cop exchanged a quick glance with the stranger, one that spoke volumes. There was more going on here than anyone could see, and the bikers had no idea how badly they'd miscalculated. The leader stepped back, clearly thrown off by the stranger's presence, But his pride wouldn't let him back down completely. "You think you can scare us? We run this road," he shouted, his voice echoing with forced confidence. He signaled to one of his crew, who began to move toward the newcomer, bottle still in hand. Before anyone could blink, the undercover cop moved. In a blur, he twisted out of the biker's grip, expertly disarming him and pinning his arm behind his back. The stranger stepped forward, pulling out a badge. "State Police." "This is over," he announced, his tone leaving no room for argument. The bikers froze, realization dawning too late. Sirens wailed in the distance as backup arrived, closing off the scene. But as the cuffs were slapped on, the undercover cop leaned into the leader's ear and said, "Next time, pick your targets more carefully." As the police escorted the bikers into waiting squad cars, the gas station fell quiet again. The undercover cop dusted himself off, his calm demeanor never wavering. The cashier stepped out cautiously, offering a relieved smile. "I thought things were about to go really bad," she admitted. The cop nodded, his voice steady. They could have. But sometimes patience is the best weapon. The stranger, still holding his badge, gave the undercover cop a nod of respect. "You handled that well. Always good to have someone like you out here." With the chaos behind them, the cop mounted his bike and revved the engine. Before riding off, he glanced back at the onlookers. "Stay safe," he said simply. As the sound of his bike faded, the lesson lingered. Not every battle is won with brute force. Sometimes it's all about knowing when to act.